Fallout 4. The year is 2287, 210 years after a nuclear holocaust devastated the United States. So why the hell does everything look like we're trapped in the 50s? Let's be honest, it probably wasn't a great time to be a housewife. Why the hell is there an empty glass left on the side, you worthless bitch? I based my character design on a jacked hipster version of myself, crossed with that apocalyptic survivor look.
You look as good as the day we met.
Dude, does he, love? Does he? Oh my god, I'd hate to be where you met. We have a floating robotic servant and a little baby named Sean. He's got an electric saw on his arm. You are not allowed to speak to my kid. Piss off. We have a knock at the door and there's some twat in a trench coat. And the last time someone in a trench coat knocked on my door, he ended up getting his cock out. And I know it's not good to project your feelings onto strangers, but in a not so polite way, I tell him to piss off. That doesn't work, and now he wants me to fill out some admin. I decide to max out my luck skill, seeing as the introduction was a minute-long propaganda piece basically saying if you're lucky, you're sound. I then divide the leftover skill points into strength, endurance, and as the kids would say, res. Knobhead leaves, and baby starts crying, so I go to check him out. However, it seems RoboTwat has already changed him. How the fuck did you change him? What are you changing him with? You've got like some kind of weird dildo thing on one arm, an electric saw on the other, and a pair of pliers. Dude, you should not be allowed to talk to children. I get a lovely peaceful moment playing with my son, then the news interrupts this lovely moment, saying New York and I have been nuked. But thankfully we have a Fallout 4 shelter nearby, and it's times like this you learn exactly what kind of man you are. It turns out I'm a very fast man and leave my wife and son in the dirt. Army man lets me through the gates after I threaten to speak to his manager. Then we get to the entrance of the Fallout shelter. Hi guys, I guess we're gonna be neighbours. The explosion goes off before we have a chance to get into safety, and we get hit by a massive dust cloud as we elevate her down. Oh, that's gonna hurt the lungs in 30 years. We then have to go through processing, and they're like, just change into your suit and step into this machine for me. I'm like, yeah, no worries, but that's no problem. I have my own chamber, but the wife has to share hers with the kid. It's good to see not only are the designs based on the 50s, but also the health and safety. I drift off into a deep slumber, but the doctor must have given me too much morphine, as I dream about my son being kidnapped and my wife being murdered. The bastards! But sadly, when I awaken, I realise this wasn't a dream, and my wife is very much dead. Oh yeah, and the kid's missing. That's probably quite an important detail too. I make sure to pinch her wedding ring, because let's be honest, that's got to be quite valuable. And now I gotta figure out how the bloody hell to get out of here. But on the way out, I get attacked by cockroaches the size of cats. But don't worry guys, you know my character is based on a 50s husband, so you know he's got a lot of experience with his fists. I also make sure to harvest their corpses for meat. Basically, I watched Bear Grylls once and I have no idea where I'll be getting my next meal. I can't imagine McDonald's survived the nuclear holocaust. I find a couple of smack needles which will certainly help numb the pain of my dead wife. I also find a gun and that might help me find a replacement wife. I gotta use the computer system to open the door to escape, but it's using an operating system on par with Windows Vista. That's probably an incredibly niche reference for 2023. But to the 4 people that understand what I'm on about, take it easy, I hope your back's okay. My next fight with the roaches goes a lot better. What can I say, if you get bigger you're easier to shoot. Shit, I just thought of a brilliant advertising campaign for Weight Watchers. I find the Fallout equivalent of an Apple Watch, and even though its design isn't as sleek or slender as the glorified Fitbit, I'd say the technology inside of it is much more impressive. Let's be honest, the skeleton I just ripped it off has probably been there for a little while, but incredibly this thing is still holding a battery charge. What can I say lads, they don't make them like they used to. I'm able to use my Fitbit to hack into the vault security system, and then able to escape. But when I get to the surface, the light is blinding. Like I've just stepped outside after an all-night gaming session. Haha, look at me, I'm quirky and relatable, don't forget to like and subscribe. But hey, the world looks really pretty. Other than, you know, the nuclear annihilation part, I suppose. I wander into my old neighbourhood and bump into my old robot. I tell him the wife's been killed and my son has been kidnapped, but this glorified tin opener is less than useless. But to be fair, that might just be because I choose the I'm a dick option every time there's a dialogue choice. He shows me around the tattered remains of my house, but it seems we might have a pretty serious infestation. Jesus, dude, how do I get going on those flamethrowers? Look, he's even cooked the meat for me. Honestly, this robot is fucking useless. 210 years he's had to himself, and he can't make sure the botfly infestation is dealt with before the owner gets home. God, he's lucky that 210 years might be slightly out of warranty, otherwise I'd be sending him back to the factory. I take one last opportunity to tell him he's useless, then wander into the apocalyptic wasteland alone. I drink some radioactive water, so it's a coin flip to decide whether or not I develop superpowers or die from horrific stomach cancer. Is radiation poisoning that much of a thing to worry about? Do you know what I mean? If anything, I'll just grow an extra arm or something, it'd be sound. You see my face, like, could be worse off, could I? I then spot my next enemy sniffing around a petrol station. A wolf that's almost certainly gonna try and rip out my lungs with radioactive teeth. Hello? Hello? Is that my new friend? I almost shot you from a distance because I thought it was a wolf. He is the bestest of boys. I've always wanted a German Shepherd, and now I have my own digital one. We might only have just met, but if anything happens to my new friend, I shall kill everybody in this game and then myself. I can stand! I find a barbecue pit on the side of this petrol station, and now seems as good as time as any to cook up some roasted cockroach. But while cooking, I hear some commotion coming from around the corner. You just eating my dog? So I just shoot everything that moves. Oh my god, I swear to god, you better be okay. But more of them just pop up from underneath my feet. Fucking more rats. Just because you're radioactive doesn't mean you can dig through solid concrete. Come on, I'll have you fucker. But hey, at least we got more meat for the barbecue, eh boys? Thankfully, Doggo has survived his encounter, and he decides to come with me as we push forward. We arrive in the dilapidated town of Concord, although the use of the word dilapidated is probably redundant. In a nuclear wasteland, everything is dilapidated. I hear gunshots in the distance and decide to investigate. Well, at least I know I'm still in America. It seems this town has been taken over by some wrong-uns who shoot me on sight. But thankfully I have an incredibly niche skill where I hide in the corner and shoot anything that comes near me. But the one thing I can't do is just leave loot lying around, so I take everything I can off the corpses I've just murdered. I might be now on a list. I use my impressive stealth skills to sneak up on the final baddie, then cave in his skull with the butt of my pistol. A bloke on the top floor of the museum asks for my assistance, so I equip myself a new gun and head on inside. I make my way through this museum, but I probably should have checked to see if my gun had any ammo. Oh crap. Oh crap, Doggo attack! Instead I whip out my shotty and knock the fucker out with a blow to the chest. Sit down, bitch. As I make my way to the top of the building, I gotta obliterate a few more baddies, and for some sadistic reason I always leave the corpses without any clothes on. But it's only so I can sell the loot for profit. At the end of the day, this is still America, the land of the capitalist. Thankfully, the spatial awareness skills of these baddies is next to none, so I can do a little bit of creeping to get the win. And it shouldn't be underestimated by how strong my guy is. He's literally caving in skulls with the butt of a shotgun. We then meet some new characters and I greet them appropriately.
Come on, your side.
Oh, sorry mate. So I chat to this cowboy wannabe, and basically there's some power armor we could potentially use to survive the apocalypse. But unfortunately they haven't got a power source capable of running it. They seem to think I can find some AA Duracell in the basement, so I go to investigate. The door to the basement is unfortunately locked, but I'm from the Welsh Valleys and know a thing or two about forcing entry. Okay, apparently not. But that's alright, there's a computer right next door that I can hack into. And when I say hack into, what I actually mean is I'm a lazy millennial and use Google to solve all of my problems. However, it seems the password changes on every single playthrough. Nice work, Bethesda, you bastards. But that's alright, because earlier I maxed out my luck skill, and as the game told us, luck is the most important skill for surviving the apocalypse. So I simply just tried to brute force it with luck. Ah, fuck. So I search the museum head to toe for bobby pins, but I'm unable to find any. So I take a step outside and have a little wander around the neighbourhood. But it seems these raider pricks are still out in force, and I'm the only one who's allowed to be forceful in this neighbourhood. I repeat the same tactic of leaving the dead nude. I really hope there's not a weight mechanic in this game, otherwise I'll be moving slower than a sloth with arthritis. Providing I keep it smart, the raiders are actually pretty simple to take care of. However, Doggo does take some serious damage, but there's nothing a used heroin needle I found earlier can't sort. I swear to god, if that dog dies, video's over. Now technically I'm supposed to be looking for bobby pins right now so I can gain access to that basement, but I simply can't not shoot at something that's shooting at me. What the hell is that? Well, judging from the health bar at the top of the screen, I'd say he's called Deathclaw, and judging by the fact that he's a scaly monster climbing out of the sewers, I'd say he's probably a baddie. That and he's literally got death written in his name. I tried cowering in a building for survival, but my German Shepherd reckons he can take on a fucking dinosaur. What the fuck is that? And unfortunately, no matter what the bloody hell it is, it has the ability to one-shot me. Well, I hope that means the dog survives. So I respawn and accept my fate. I'll never be able to get access to this basement, and I'll never see my son again. So I decide to take my anger out on the nearest NPCs. And while I was arming up, I actually found a human skull in a fridge. You know what? I no longer feel bad for what's about to happen. I head back to the top of the museum and drop the hottest bomb for 210 years. But this lad literally couldn't give a shit. It was only when I started shooting him in the face that he actually actually got slightly annoyed with me. Thankfully, Doggo decides to fight by my side, and the knobhead's not able to fight back while he's having his arm ripped off by an attack dog. I'm glad that this dog just happened to pick my side. Although I start to run low on ammo, and that forces me to drop back. So I change guns from the many in my arsenal, but as a general rule of thumb, I need something that can shoot faster than one every half an hour. I then unfortunately take a straight to the face. Your head has been crippled. Restore your vision by healing yourself with a stim pack. Unfortunately, I'm out of heroin, so I have to eat my grilled cockroach instead. But that doesn't do anything at all, so instead just stand still in the corner and wait for it to sort itself out. There you go, that's some fantastic advice from my American cousins who can't afford health insurance. Just wait it out, I'm sure that lump is nothing serious. Anyway, I head back into the action, and it seems those cheeky bastards have been healing themselves. And that's an absolute disgrace. Only I'm allowed to eat radioactive roach meat. R.I.P. fucked up face. R.I.P.